Hello, another video. At the moment, I could do a video on so many different subjects. If you look on my phone, on my notes, I've got a note on the videos, and I've got so many different topics I'd like to speak about. But obviously, when I put too many out too fast, they get missed. So I'll maybe just try one every few days or once a week. But again, I've mentioned a few times my good friend Fletcher, who I speak to every day. We're starting a podcast together soon. We had a chat today, and what come up, he actually said to me, he said, mate, I think that would be a good video, because I think he got a bit of an aha from it. And so I'll do a video on what he wanted me to, and what he suggested. And I don't like using the terminology always us and them, okay? Because we're all in this together, we're all one. But at the same time, it's a paradox, okay? We're all in here, we're all in this together, we're all unified, but at the same time, we're all unique, we're all individual. And there is an us and them. And I'm sorry to say that. And I don't believe in choosing a side. I will just say that. Wisdom teachings of compassion allow us to step off the battlefield. We're no longer working for the light side to overthrow the dark side, okay? Compassion allows us to see everything as one, see compassion in all things, and go the middle road and a bigger perspective, a broader view on things, okay? You don't see things as good or bad because they're interdependent. Bad doesn't exist without good, and vice versa. And the compassion, in my opinion, in my understanding, is also there is good, bad, right, wrong, up, down, left, right, polarity. But the universal way, okay, the Tao, if you like, whatever you want to call it, is benevolent. It's detached, but it's benevolent in its nature. It's all forgiving, all loving, doesn't choose sides. Like when you look at nature, we abuse the earth, she provides for us. The sun doesn't choose who it shines on, it just shines, so on and so forth, okay? So compassion is to align with that, because its fundamental laws of the universe are based off coherence, cooperation, and interdependence. So to understand compassion is to align with that. I hope my videos don't encourage people to be on the battlefield fighting for the light. It's about becoming conscious, because becoming consciously aware and present and understanding, we move into the heart and we actually grow out of conflict. We see the bigger picture. It's a evolution in human consciousness. It's a maturing of understanding what's going on. So just wanted to set that up first, because in this video I am going to use terminology which is us and them, okay? I'm going to explain them, and when I'm talking about them, I'm not pointing the finger at someone to blame, but I am directing you at the cabal, okay? The fallen ones who try and deceive us, do deceive us, the small minority that are behind the media, the banks, the banking cartels, they run the world, okay? And the conversation that we spoke about today, we got on the subject of, is it Stephen Hawkins, the cripple who was a scientist? Now, I seen a meme that was showing that Stephen Hawkins is linked to Jeffrey Epstein, been to his island. It didn't surprise me, because the scientific model, okay, when you look at, and bear in mind, what I want to stress in this is I want to share about my story as an atheist. I was an atheist for 2 years, and I actually was a pain in the ass atheist. I would argue with people who were religious or spiritual. And through my own investigation, atheism doesn't have a good foundation, in my opinion. Okay, I've had people who are atheists who have said to me, "So you believe in God?" And my answer to that is, how do you see God? So you believe there's a guy with a long white beard blasting around on a cloud up in the sky. Okay, let's have a conversation here, okay? An adult conversation. Let's just forget about an old white beard guy blasting around on a cloud in the sky. And let's look at a grand intelligence. Everything that we see has been created. Where's it come from? There's a creator, there's an intelligence that gives everything order, cooperation, balance. Everything has an intelligence. I'm talking to you now, what is life? I used to ask these questions. If I die, the life force in me has stopped. Okay? What is that? Okay, we might say it's the soul. It's an intelligent being. It's not just energy. Energy doesn't distinguish between positive or negative. But intelligence is, I can hold this conversation. I can do a meditation. I can change the oil on my car. I can feel other people's suffering. That's intelligence. That's not just energy. Okay, so there's an intelligence there. But a plant has it. You put a plant out and watch a plant, it will grow towards the sun. It's thirsty. It needs water. If you cut it, it starts to die. That life force leaves the matter of the plant that's in your hand. So with my experiences with my nan as well, my nan died. I gave her a kiss before she died. I saw her an hour later. I gave her a kiss after she died, and it was just like kissing the wall. My nan had gone. That life that I loved and I felt and I smelt and I held and spoke to was no longer there, okay? Now, atheists might say, well, it's just gone. But it didn't make sense to me when I reflected on it that this beautiful intelligence would determine what a form looks like, okay? It would determine that you have 4 children, they're all completely different, brought up in the same family dynamic. They look different. They have different likes, dislikes. Where's that come from? Where's their personality traits come from? Why are they so different? Because in my understanding now, the soul has had so many different experiences, okay? And so the soul comes into a physical existence, and then when this physical existence ends, it moves on. So the scientific model, if we look at it, when we look at like your Michio Kaku's, who I used to love, Neil deGrasse Tyson and Stephen Hawkins, they're trying to, it's all left brain. It's all this left brain, non-creative, need an answer, matter and energy way of thinking. And it's trying to kill or eliminate the God, okay? An intelligence, a creator, an intentional intelligence behind all things. I remember watching a documentary with my dad years and years ago in England, and Stephen Hawkins was trying to prove that there was no God, right, in this documentary. And first thing I thought was, no wonder he doesn't believe. I didn't know at this point about what these cabal get up to, the fallen. But I thought, well, maybe I can give him compassion that how much he's suffering is why he probably doesn't believe in God, okay? And I'll share a little thing now, just reminded me I wasn't going to put it in this video. My Buddhist teacher who I spoke to the other day, she said to me, we spoke about the universal purpose for suffering. I'm going to put this in a completely different video. But she said to me, suffering isn't suffering if you see through the suffering. This is wisdom. Suffering is only suffering when you don't understand what's happening. So his suffering, then I thought he obviously doesn't believe in God because of that. But now obviously it makes sense that he was a part of, this religion of the fall and the cabal, which is a satanic faith religion. okay? And they're brought up into it, okay? You think that's hard to wrap your head around? You look at a Muslim extremist, a Catholic, a Christian, a Buddhist, whatever you want to program a kid to believe, that's what they're going to believe. It's very easy to do, okay? And these are brought up in these families, and they're subject to their practices and all the rest of it. So the scientific model, to me, is trying to eliminate spirit and eliminate God. But the reason for this video is they believe in God. If you watch a documentary called Out of Shadows, there's a clip that they show in there, and it's Seinfeld. A lot of bad videos coming out about Seinfeld when he's talking about not very nice things, making fun of it. But if you know what goes on, then you know it's not a joke. He's being serious. And he's in the car with Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy's telling Seinfeld about the first time he spoke to Sammy Davis Jr. And Sammy Davis Jr. was a renowned Satanist, and he practiced with some high satanic priests, okay? Now, Eddie Murphy's telling the story, and Eddie Murphy he says to Seinfeld in his car, he said, you know, I always remember that Sammy Davis Jr. said to me, you know, Satan is as powerful as God, you know. And he said, because look at how much suffering is in the world. Now, I'm bringing that up because they acknowledge God. They acknowledge that there's a God. And they also acknowledge how powerful God is. Because Sammy Davis Jr. is trying to convince Eddie Murphy that Satan is as powerful as God. So they acknowledge that there's a God, and they acknowledge that it's a powerful presence, whatever it is, okay? Now, in the music industry, a lot of them, these either they're brought up into it, they make vows, and the vow is to destroy what God made. I've shared this in another video. How do you do that? By creating separation, by creating an ego, a big ego. This is why they pump, ego. It's all for me and forget everybody else. I've already mentioned this, so I don't have to go into this anymore. But I'll tell you something else. They believe in God, and they believe that there's a power. God is powerful. They're trying to convince themselves that the devil or whatever, Satan, Lucifer, whatever, is as powerful, okay? But they believe in karma too. The spiritual teaching of karma was what was removed from the Bible, okay? It was one of Jesus's fundamental teachings, if you look at the Dead Sea Scrolls and things like that. Now, how can I say that they believe in karma? Because they need Hollywood, books, documentaries, and all the rest of it, news, to convince us to consent to what they do against us. And they believe that this removes them being responsible and getting karma, because they understand karma. They trick us into consenting. And by doing that, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't bother with that if they didn't believe in karma. So they believe in karma. They believe that there is a divine presence. They also understand the power of humanity united. They don't believe that they're human beings. They understand the power that we have. This is why they spend all their effort dividing us. And this is why they've created a scientific model that is eliminating the possibility of a grand intelligence, of a God. Okay? You think about it. They believe in it. They believe in God, but their job is to make us not believe in it. God is, when you understand God, you become fearless and empowered. When you believe there's no God, you become disempowered, separate, depressed, no purpose to life. You with me? Easily controlled. Because when you're in fear, easily controlled. So rather than me just spitting this out and not give it any solution, my where I want to go with this is is reflect on it instead of just reacting. If what I say doesn't make sense, or you think I'm an atheist and blah 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 blah, because I listened to an interview with Dawkins and Ricky Gervais, and it was a really ego mind way of looking at things. And I'm not going to go into that here, but my point is just be open and reflect on where we are, what life is. What is this life essence that's given life to the body? What is that in you? Reflect inward. Because when you see that and you acknowledge it, you'll see it in everything. You'll understand that there's a you know, if your dog or your child or your loved one dies, right? They're still there. Their body's still there. So why do you mourn? What part of them is not there? Okay, what part of you are you missing and you want back? It's the life part. It's the spirit. So what is that? Where was it before it came into this body or into our kids? And where does it go afterwards? Reflect on it and start seeing it in plants. Start seeing it in the ocean. Start seeing it in the sun. See it everywhere. And then have a mutual respect for that. Understand that this isn't the end if this body dies. Because becoming fearless of death is not an ego thing. It's not like, I'm not scared of dying. It's a heart thing. It's a knowing. It's a, this is eternal. This is not accidental. This is perfect. And when we open our hearts and we eliminate fear, we're not controlled anymore. We're enlightened beings, and we can help more. We can serve more. This isn't about pointing the finger and resisting what's going on. It's about coming together in love, seeing the bigger picture, that these people who are trying to divide us, fundamentally, the more they push us into division, the more we see what's happening, the more we come together. So I hope this has been beneficial. I'm sorry if I've gone on a little bit. I'll do another video in a few days. I love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.